Hello and welcome back to another edition of our Talk It Out sessions presented by VERB. We're your hosts, Aaron Tate, Adrian Poe, with the lovely Jasmine Patterson behind camera. Everyone say hello to your future selves. Jasmine, show the two fingers, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you, I miss you doing that.
Yeah.
That was the cutest thing.
So if you've been catching our other videos, then you know what we like to do is we like to pick a specific topic, particularly one that is controversial, and we like to discuss it. We come up with different talking points to bring up throughout the discussion, but we also like to get involved with you guys as well. So for those of you tuning in, please feel free to comment and ask any questions you think might contribute to the conversation. Today's lovely topic today is let that hurt go. Let that hurt go. And I, for one, am particularly excited to discuss this topic.
No, this man Jad took a break.
Right. The hurt people, obviously.
We gotta let it go.
Man.
We gotta let it go. We gotta let it go, Adrian.
So before we get into it, we came to discuss this topic because me personally, I've had the great experience of meeting different people, interacting with different people, whether it be at work or just outside in the world in general. And a lot of the people that I come across tend to carry a lot of hurt and a lot of trauma that they tend to not be able to know exactly how to be able to let go of that hurt and that trauma. So hopefully this video will be something enlightening for you guys. Anybody out there watching who is carrying trauma, who is carrying hurt, even if you're not even aware of it, hopefully this video kind of opens your eyes to the hurt and trauma that you carry. And hopefully this video will be enlightening for you to be able to know what you may need to do to start to heal, if you will. Is there any words you would like to say before you?
I just feel like I'm finna be attacked. I just feel like I'm finna be attacked.
Jasmine, is there anything you would like to say?
I'm good. I'm just ready to find out how you're gonna help me heal or give me a different perspective, I guess, on this.
Okay. Do we have anybody tuning in so far?
I'm sorry, what?
Do we have anybody tuning in so far?
Yes. Miss LaTracy says, hey, group family.
Hey, Mr. Tracy.
Hey, Miss LaTracy. And that's it right now.
All right. So we talking to you today, LaTracy, apparently. All right. So again, today's topic is let that hurt go. Let that hurt go. So before we get into it, first question is...
Hold on, wait, stop.
Ooh. Relax your body.
I feel like
Everybody put on your seatbelts, please.
you're gonna try to take something from me that I have used so long
He done got
to
some liquid.
like defend myself, and you finna like tell me that I don't need this sword, and it's like, but this is what protects me. Okay.
Don't go straight in being defensive. Be open.
Be gentle.
Okay.
Be very gentle. Don't yell at us, okay?
So a little foreplay action,
Okay.
get you a little
Miss
wet
Carrie
first
Ann
before I
Vinzen says hello from Georgia.
see.
Hey, Georgia. Okay, go.
So the first question is, what is that hurt? What is that hurt? When you think of hurt, what do you think of, sir?
When I think of hurt, it's any particular situation that has caused you some type of mental or emotional distress. And even though that situation has passed, we grab that to either become the victim or build a specific defense so that if someone else comes along that tries that same thing, we can red flag it and act accordingly.
Jasmine, what about you?
I like Adrian's response.
Okay. And by the way, before we get into it, or before we go further, so when we're talking about hurt, we're dealing specifically as it relates to feelings, hurt feelings, or hurt, some sort of hurt mental state. So you say you agree with Adrian, correct?
Yes, the emotional and mental. Oh, paper cut. Let it go, let it go.
So for me, and this is just definition I got from Google.
Okay.
Hurt is defined as unhappiness or sadness caused by someone's words or actions. Unhappiness or sadness caused by someone's words or actions. Y'all pretty much agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Second question is, what causes people to hold on to that hurt, and do people even realize they're holding on to it? What do you think causes people to hold on to that hurt?
Jay, you want to take this one first?
Let me gather my thoughts on that one.
Okay. So, want me to share what I shared last night?
Yeah, you can.
So, what I came to the conclusion of is the reason that most people, and by most people I mean me, hold on to hurt is because on one end of it, it's kind of like if I had allowed something someone else said to cause me some type of mental or emotional distress, and that person, leaves or goes off and continue their life, to hold on to the fact that you hurt me, it gives me a sense of power over you, since I know that the world we live in holds emotions to such high regard. So it would kind of influence them to feel bad about what they did. But if I just let it go, I see that as you're not going to have any type of connection or feeling toward what you've done to me. Therefore, I can't bring it up in your face or throw it up the next time we have an interaction, and you won at that point. So you got a chance to hit me, but I didn't get a chance to get my lick back. So by me holding on to it, it's kind of like, you did that? So the next time you come along, I'm going to remind you of what you did, or I'm going to act accordingly to what you did so that I can get my lick back. And it gives me a sense of power and control in the area that I once had no power or control in. That's why I hold on to my hurt. Because you couldn't have thought you were going to get me twice.
Jasmine, what about you?
And the question is why?
What causes people to hold on to that hurt?
I think they hold on to it exactly for what I was going to say, something as far as what Adrian said. I feel like people hold on to it so that when the perfect time comes, they are able to redisplay this hurt so that you can see it. And now I need you to respond to it because I have the opportunity to bring it back.
Tit for tat.
So I feel like hurt is held on to as like maybe a possible crutch or as a security in some way of defense. Mm-hmm. And we need that to be, I don't know, I guess I don't want to say interesting, but we need that to have substance to us.
But I also do want to add as well, on the direct opposite end, because for me, I take it as a power move. There are people who like to play victim. So I feel like people also hold on to hurt so that they can play victim, just in case that person comes back or someone else comes along, they can be in that victimized role to get pampered and babied. Now, I don't take that approach, but I can agree that there are people that do that.
That's interesting that you said the word powerful, because I feel like we don't have power if we're using it in the way that you're using
I use it for power.
Because are you really in power?
Oh yeah.
Because you're bringing it back to the forefront. Like, are you sure that the other person's not controlling you in some shape or way?
I see what you're saying, but that's valid, and that could very well be true. It depends on me. Like for me, it's kind of like the hurt is, oh, you stabbed me. Okay, we're gonna put it physically, but we're talking mentally. I'm gonna take that out, and I'm gonna hide it in the back. So when you come back up, like, I'm just not gonna throw it away and let it go. Like, I still got that same thing you stabbed me. The blood is still on it, and I'm finna hit you back with that. Mm-hmm. So for me, I use it as a power play. But you are correct. People who got stabbed took it out and like, I got to hold this until you come back, right, which gives that person that much control over you. So it really just depends on how far you take it for me, whether or not it's me using it for power or you overpowering me, controlling me. Okay. But I get it.
Yeah.
Do we have any comments?
We just got some people tuning in. Let's see. Miss LaTracy, she says, this is not easy when you're hurting and being hurt. Jones Jacqueline says, seeing it every day in their face when it's fresh. LaTracy says, because we keep going back to the person.
So for me, I think what causes people to hold on to that hurt is fear of being hurt again, which also stems from the inability to properly process that hurt. So because you don't know how to process hurt, you fear the possibility of being hurt again, only to not be able to process that hurt when you haven't even processed the first hurt in the beginning. So I'll call it the alcohol and the open wound effect. Would y'all like for me to?
Adrian.
I would not like for you to cut me and try it, but you can definitely show me what's
I was going to say, Adrian, the props.
So, I came up with the idea of the alcohol and the open wound effect to describe what being hurt is like for people, or has become. So the knife, the knife represents someone's words or actions. This is someone's words or actions, right? The alcohol represents a conversation or talking about it to aid the healing process, all right? So let's just say someone takes this knife and they cut me with it. As soon as they cut me, I now have an open wound and it bleeds out, right? So when I pour alcohol on this open wound, what's gonna happen?
It's gonna burn.
It's gonna sting, right? But what's happening is that alcohol is helping disinfect the wound or killing the bacteria before my body begins the healing process. Now, our bodies are designed or programmed to undergo a process of healing, which requires the body to identify a specific area of the body or skin that needs to adapt to a specific amount of pressure or force that penetrated that part of the body.
So you're a biochemist at this point. Like, when did you become a biochemist, yo?
I was wondering. I was like,
that makes perfect sense, but I didn't know you had a degree in biochemistry. But go ahead, because it's getting good.
So, are y'all following me so far, though?
Right.
Yes.
Y'all with me?
Yes.
All right.
Healing of the skin.
So now, part of that process, or the process of healing, is for the body to regenerate that skin, right? But it's not, once the skin grows back, it's not going to grow back exactly as it was. It's going to add on a layer of skin in order to adapt to that, again, that specific amount of force or pressure that penetrated in the first place. So should it be met with that exact same amount of force, it won't be able to penetrate the skin as easily as it did before. So that's why anytime you get cut or something like that, when the skin grows back, it's always darker than the rest of your body that hasn't been touched. Y'all with me? So once the skin starts to heal or the skin starts to regenerate, what's going to happen if I continue to pour alcohol on it?
While it's healing?
While it's healing.
It doesn't burn.
It's not gonna burn anymore, right? Because I'm now healing, so I'm no longer gonna need the alcohol to help disinfect or kill the bacteria that's gonna affect my healing process. However, what's happening, or what has happened to us as a society or as a people, is our bodies are becoming crippled or disabled from being able to properly heal itself. So what I mean by that is, I get cut, open wound, bleed, pour the alcohol on it, burns, right? But because my body doesn't know how to properly heal itself, let's say the next day I come back, wound still open, pour some more alcohol on it, still stings as if I just got cut, right? Come back the next day, wound still open, more alcohol, more burn. So what's happening is we get hurt by, we are hurt by someone's words or actions, right? But because no one is teaching us how to properly process how they feel as a result of someone's someone's words or actions, every time we try to have a conversation about it, meaning pour alcohol on the open wound that was created by someone's words or actions, what we think is a distant memory, we actually end up time traveling back to that moment in time in which we experienced the pain, right? And so when we time travel back to that moment in time, it invokes all those same emotions and feelings that you felt at the time that you were hurt by that person. But because we don't know how to properly heal, every time we try to talk about it, it stings just as if it happened yesterday, right? So what happens is, because we don't know how to properly heal, we say, you know what, I'm finna stop pouring alcohol on this wound because it's not closing up. And I'm just gonna avoid going around knives for the rest of my life, because I can't put myself in a position to be cut again, knowing that I can't heal myself and this first wound hasn't healed at all. Y'all with me so far? So I think what causes people to hold on to the hurt is their inability to properly process the hurt. And so people just avoid getting hurt again, knowing that they won't be able to heal from any more hurt based on their inability to have healed from the first time they got hurt.
But it wasn't that they couldn't heal from it. You just didn't take the proper steps to heal from it.
But no one's teaching us how. Right. No one's teaching us the process. It's like the body automatically is designed to, or programmed to heal.
But we're not automatically programmed to.
Exactly. So we have to be taught how to properly heal, or how to properly process the hurt that we experience as a result of someone's words or actions. Because you don't know how to process hurt, you now develop a fear of knives, but it's not the words or the actions that's bad. It's the person's intent behind why they're using the knife. A knife can be used to cut up some food to get ready to eat, right?
But also can use to cut up a human body after they've been murdered.
Right. Or a knife can also be used to cut ties with someone who's not beneficial to your life. So it's not the words or the actions that's dangerous. It's the person's intent. That's why people say guns don't kill people. People kill people. You know what I mean? You don't look at this knife as a weapon until someone's coming at you with the intent to harm you. But you see a knife, you may think, oh, I can cut up these onions with this knife. So I think people need to start learning how to properly process hurt, properly process their pains so that they can actually undergo the process of healing once they experience being hurt by someone.
So that is absolutely true. And now that you say that, I've had to do that in 2 or 3 major times in my life. I don't do it in every situation, but I do it when I realize I've been cut. And it kind of goes back to what we were discussing in another video about accountability and responsibility. Someone else's words, you have to decide whether or not you want to be hurt by that. Like, they don't just automatically hurt. Like, if I say, Aaron, you such and such, like, you have to decide, do I want to be offended by that or do I want to just brush it off? And the fact that you wanted to be offended by that or then you chose to be offended by that, you now say, I hurt your feelings when I really didn't. I gave you information. You decided to do that. And that goes to the whole, if we teach people to be accountable and responsible for which ones we choose, that's how you learn to heal. When you realize, well, no, they didn't really hurt my feelings. I decided to let what they said actually affect me. That's on me. That's a proper way to heal from stuff so that moving forward, I don't have to be scared of knives. I don't have to be scared of having conversations or becoming friends with these people because I now realize I have complete control over where I take it and how I receive what they're saying, which is a proper way to heal, which is basically properly process the verbiage that's coming into you with the intent of the person. So now if you know that the person is intentionally saying something to hurt you, you need to stop it right there and be like, well, I know the only reason you said that is because you feel this way. So do I want to receive this as, I'm hurt by what you said, or you ain't talking about nothing? And I think that's what people don't want to realize. It's really on you to decide whether something hurts you or not. That's good. That is good.
We have some comments.
Ms. Yvonne Henderson says true. Antonia Johnson says he got juice. LaTracy says...
she's talking about this juice.
Oh.
Ashley, Miss Nikki says, okay, biochemistry.
Legit. My boy was breaking down the zygote.
Let's see. Ashley, Miss Nikki also said on point. Melba Hodges says yes. Miss LaTracy says that's facts. She also says, I love y'all younger people. Teach them what life is about. Back in my day, we didn't know things like now. Younger people have no excuse today because it's a lot of knowledge out here.
Legit. That's good. That makes perfect sense. And it's kind of like, I've done that. I can think of 3 times where I had to do that. And realizing the knife to the open wound, what did you call it?
Alcohol on the open wound.
Realizing the alcohol to the open wound syndrome is the only thing that got me over that, because as long as I was processing it as, oh, you hurt me, you did this, you did that, like the moment I decided to be like, I don't want to process that as that no more. And now I'm cool. Like, I'm talking like my own family, and it's like, dang, that was how I got over that. When I processed it differently than holding on to it, keep pouring it before I realize, hey, like I've already poured the alcohol, leave it alone and just process it accordingly. So no, I do that, but to be honest, for me, the only time I do that is when the wound is really deep. If it's like a scab like this, then I keep that a little bit just for kicks and giggles, to be honest with you. But if it's really deep to where I know that if I don't let this heal or process this properly, I'm not going to be able to function properly. So I do that, but I don't do it with like scabs or little minor cuts. I hold on to them because I like playing stuff like that. I'm just being honest.
Jazz, how do you feel so far?
I'm just learning right now as far as what we're talking about. I did want to ask you a question though, Adrian. When you say process, like how do you process your...
Like, to be honest, I can share mine. One of mine was years ago, I found out that basically my whole family had lied to me about, who I was, who my dad was, all the way down to mom, all them people, right? And we cool now. But it was bad. Like, I started doing stuff that I would never do because I was holding on to that hurt, so therefore I could blame them. So I was blaming my mom and my stepdad and brothers and all them for lying, my aunties, and I was justifying my actions because you hurt my feelings, you hurt my feelings, you hurt my feelings. And it wasn't until I gave my life to God and I realized that even though what they did towards me had evil intent or it was lies or deceitful, I still had to decide whether or not I wanted to process that as an excuse to do dumb stuff or recognize people like that and move on. And as long as I was processing it as you hurt me, you hurt me, you hurt me, I was doing dumb stuff like drugs, prostitution, all that. But when I processed it as I have to decide whether or not I want to process what you did as hurt or do I want to just move on. When I decided to process it as I'm moving on, I'm not going to give you that much power. Like when you said a while ago, that's how I became who I am today. But it wasn't until I processed it as it's me. Like, you can say what you want to say about me. You can lie to me. You can do all of this to me. But at the end of the day, I still have to decide how I want to process that information. And that's why a lot of times we be talking about Aaron like you cold-hearted. Like, it's really not he cold-hearted. It's just he decided to process that outside of the emotional plane that affects him. Right. We decided to process that in a sense of I feel some type of way. But equivalent to us feeling some type of way, you cannot feel some type of way. Right. So to be honest, it's really on us. Like, it's us that hurt us. It's really not anyone else. Second scenario, had a best friend that violated all type of things that we stood for. As long as I was processing that as, I can't believe you did this to me, can't believe you did this to me, I was in a bad place emotionally until I started processing that as, well, you really didn't do nothing to me. Like, my bills still getting paid, my family's great. So why am I deciding to let what you do have me affected any type of way? When I decided to let that go and realize I have to process that accordingly. I'm good now. What he got going on is what he got going on. I decide whether or not we come to and fro now, and now I have power. So I do recant. I don't necessarily recant, but I want to add something to my initial statement of the video. Yes, I do use certain moments as power moves, but I also understand, like you said, there are other versions of power that can be at place, which is what Aaron explained. So it really goes back to, like I said, it really depends on how you're processing that, because some situations that I'm hurt, I allow people to have that power. Other situations, I use that power against them. Other situations, I let it go and it's all around powerful. So it's situation circumstance based for me. All cuts are not deep enough for me to go into alcohol over knife. All cuts are not deep enough for me to not go into it. So it's really a really tangled web that you have to learn how to weave.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I want to offer a method for people to use in order to process hurt or pain. I call it the UAL method.
Boy, you is on it
He's
today.
Where is your... Did you graduate before I came here? Like, where is you coming out the woodwork with
I call it the UAL method. I'm finna be published after
right, for real.
But yeah, for those of you watching, if you want something to be able to use as a vital tool for you to be able to process pain, I'm gonna offer something. If it works for you, great. If not, keep it pushing. UAL. U is for understand. A is for accept. L is for let go. All right. So before we can begin to process the pain or process the hurt as a result of someone's words or actions, we have to understand, or one thing you can do is understand why they did exactly what they did. Because a lot of times we tend to think that it's our fault or we blame ourselves for what someone else chose to do. So a lot of things, one thing we can do is try and understand what their mental process was behind why they decided to say what they said or do what they did. So for instance, if a woman gets cheated on and she wants to know why did my man cheat, or why did he do this, why couldn't he stay faithful? one thing you can try and understand is what was going through his head, or what was he processing at the time. What does the world usually promote in regards to men? Men are dogs, men cheat, men just want sex, right? So this man probably grew up with the idea that I'm not a man if I'm not upholding these ideas of masculinity that is being thrown in my face. So let me make sure I'm out here, dipping my thing in everything I see, right? Let me get a woman, but even if I get a woman, let me not uphold this idea of faithfulness or loyalty that I'm not told that a man is, right? So you can attribute his actions to immaturity. This man, being immature, or being the immature boy that he is, his process was, in order to fulfill my duty as a man, I have to do these things that I'm told makes me a man, right? So once we're able to understand that, he was just immature and not in the place to handle commitment, not in the place to handle being faithful to only one person, we can then accept. Now, when I say understand, I'm not saying you agree with his actions.
Right.
Understanding
him doing it.
Right. Understanding is
I get why you did it.
Right. You understand why he did it. You don't agree with it. You don't accept it. You just agree. Understand why he did it. You can move on to the next step, which is accept it. When I say accept, I mean accept that his actions were not your fault. He made a decision to do what he did.
It's on him.
And that's on him.
Or her.
So you can accept. Once you understand, you can accept that it was not your fault. The only thing you're accountable for is what you said earlier, is how you decide to feel as a result of it. Once you can accept that it's not your fault, you can let that thing go.
That's the problem. The problem is the understanding for people. Because even when you, what was the first one?
Understand.
The second was accept.
Accept that it's not your fault.
Even when you provide understanding, in my experience, and I haven't talked to every female in the world, but in my experience, most females are not willing to accept that understanding. Because that understanding is valid, but they want it to be something else so that they can hold on to the fact that, well, there's something that I could have done to make this not true. Because if this is true, I have no control. And they don't want to accept the fact that I don't have control. So let me change my hair. Let me get freakier. Let me invite another woman in the bedroom. Let me do stuff to try to offset the fact that he was just, or she was just immature. Because if I have to accept that, that simply means I had no control over it. And people don't like not having control. That's the hard part for them, that accepting it. Like, I've heard so many people try to justify why people did what they did, when at the end of the day, just like me, I was in the same situation when my homeboy did what he did. I kept being like, well, dang, like, was I not teaching you enough? Was I not talking to you enough? Was I not there? Like, I'm like going through stuff trying to make sure, like where did I drop the ball? And it's like, it wasn't until I realized, son, it ain't got nothing to do with you. You could have been there from day one, and your homeboy could have still decided to do what he did. So accept the fact that he just wasn't on the level that you was on. And when I accepted it, I let it go.
You can let it
go. And I'm good now.
So yeah, it's the UAL approach. Understand why they did what they did. Accept that it wasn't your fault. They was gonna do what they did regardless.
Yeah, and let it go.
And let it go. And that's the process of healing that you can go through, and to where every time you talk about it, you're not time traveling back to the moment. You're just bringing up an experience
right now,
and it's not hurting, or you're not feeling the pain of the emotions and feelings that you felt at the time of the experience.
Legit.
Jones Jacqueline says, why is that some people accept it better when it's said like a person admitting what they did is wrong versus when the action being put forth shows it?
Good question. Very valid question.
So just so I understand it, she's saying it's easier for them to accept it once the person admits that they're wrong versus just taking their actions for it being. I think people put too much stake in needing someone to admit it versus just
taking it for what you see.
Yeah.
Valid question for me. I'm the same way. I feel like, I don't know where in life we've adopted this concept of, oh, I know he cheating. He's staying out all types of night. I saw text messages in his phone. Somebody told me they saw him with a girl, such. But I need him to say it, or I need her to say it. No, like, we have to learn, and that goes back to
when people show you who
they are. When people show you who they are, believe them. That goes back to, if I understand it and accept it, like, I don't have control, because You can do everything under the sun for someone and they can still get out on you. We don't want to believe that, because if I believe that, that simply means, well, why am I doing anything? Or what's the purpose? So you mean you can still hurt me after I'm doing all this? I've never crossed you like that. Why would you cross me? It brings all of those questions that people don't like to deal with up, and it leaves you in a space of, oh, I don't have control. And now I feel really small. So to keep me from not having control and feeling small, you have to admit it. I don't care. You still have to admit it, because that's the last form of acceptance for them. But it shouldn't take that. It should not take that. And we've gotten far from the perspective of that in life. We got to get back to when people show you who they are, believe them.
I think people struggle with wanting to believe that they were special enough to have influenced that person to not do what they did. Like if they
No.
Son, calm down.
Say that again.
People want to believe that they were special enough to have influenced someone to not do what they did to quote unquote hurt them.
Let's just pause. I want that to sit on the souls of everybody watching. Say it one more time.
People want to believe that they were special enough to have influenced the person to not do what they did.
So let's just pause. I just want us to sit on that, because I don't think the world understands that. Just hold on.
Let it marinate in your spirit.
Yeah, like that's it. That's it. That's it. One more time.
People want to believe that they were special enough to have influenced that person to not do what they did.
I think we feel like we got superpowers in some shape,
But-
way, or form.
Tell me what he's saying ain't true.
But that's
That
why
just hit so hard.
that's why they have such a hard time
That
accepting, like you
just
said.
hit so hard.
And I think it's just because, you know, in the male and female perspective, I feel like when women that have in their mind, if I do what I've been taught to do and I do it well,
It has to work.
then he should be able to stay put, stay still, stay faithful.
Don't work like that.
So that's why it's kind of hard, or why they do have to look at, well, is
did
it
all
my
this
fault?
and
Like
this.
what? But we do have to kind of get past that and be like, you know, well, if you did do everything that you, said that you did,
she still can
then
do.
at that point you can feel good about self because you did what you said you was
Yeah.
going to do. And at that point, it isn't your fault. Like you said, the UAL method, you know,
give it to me.
understanding,
Okay.
accepting.
There we go.
And letting it
Let's go.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, what's Cassandra Phillips Palmer says, people always tell me to let it go, but when I let it go, they keep talking about it. I agree, Miss Cassandra. It's hard to actually let it go when you still got people around you, like still bringing it up or still bringing it to the light for us to sit and discuss it.
But I'm saying, regardless of who decides to bring it up, again,
If
you
you-
decide.
yeah.
If you
If you-
already
yeah.
I don't
healed.
want to be around that.
But I'm
if
saying-
I'm
but
letting
listen,
it go,
You must
don't-
ain't healed yet, though.
That's what
I
I'm saying.
have. It's just I don't want to sit up and talk about it. It's nothing for me that I would want to just discuss.
If you just like this, I got a cut right here. Now, when this cut first happened, if I put my finger in it, it burned a little bit. But now, like Aaron said, the biochemist here, the skin is darker, so I can touch it all day. And I have no, now that did sting a little bit, but
I know it did.
I have no pain about it. Now that scar is still there. That scar is never going anywhere. But Aaron, touch it. I don't feel anything. I touch it. You can touch it. It's not going to bother me now because it's fully healed. The only reason that you or anyone else or myself would face the fact of, well, I moved past it, I don't want to talk about it though, is because somewhere deep down we didn't allow that to heal.
Right.
And I know this to be true because my whole dad situation, for the first 2 or 3 years, I was finna fight anybody that brought it up. Now I make jokes about it. I didn't even go to his funeral. Like, I can play. I mean, I didn't go.
Right.
But now I can laugh about it because it's fully healed. So if you find yourself in a situation where something in the past happened and you don't want to talk about it, you didn't fully do the UAL.
Yeah, the
So I
wound
have
is
to
still
make
open.
it into a funny situation for me.
No.
No.
We're saying.
I just feel like I shouldn't have to. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. If I say that I let it go, it is out of sight, out of mind. I wouldn't want people that are around me constantly bringing something up that I said I was done with. Just because I don't feel like joking about it or turning it into something comical doesn't mean that I haven't healed.
So, I guess my question would be, if if you're coming from the perspective of I've moved on, it's out of sight, out of mind, I just don't want to keep talking about it. Is it because talking about it then causes you to revisit the past or revisit those emotions you felt at the time?
Or you just don't see the point of constantly talking about something
Correct.
because
Something
it
that's
doesn't
dead.
provide any productiveness in
Correct.
your life.
Yes.
Okay,
it's
now that's
dead.
the perspective I'm cool. But if you're coming from the perspective of I'm reliving it and now it relives my emotions. Okay, well we good. Then.
I ain't reliving nothing.
Okay, cool.
If I said I've let it go, then it's gone.
Okay.
It's just this. I don't want to give this
it makes no point. It makes no sense to keep talking about something that's not bad.
I mean that makes sense, but
if
would
the
you be willing?
situation was to come up,
I'm
could
saying
we, not continuously, but could we just have a conversation about
I'm
it?
saying like, would you be? Hold on. Would you be willing to share your experience in order to relate to another person who may be going through something similar?
Of course.
Or if it's contributing to a larger conversation that's being had amongst you and other people.
I mean, a one-on-one situation would be more.
But not a group of people.
No, what we would talk about.
I'm saying
we're trying to help the group therapy. AA means,
I'm saying amongst a group of friends. Like
well,
we
yeah,
had group discussions.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like I don't a one-on-one. Yes, I don't mind bringing it up to be relatable, but us sitting around just chopping it up detail by detail.
You still got a little bit of burn. Like you,
I don't want to do it.
You
no,
sound like the stand, but I feel like it's a little piece of.
I swear.
You got a little piece of.
No, I don't. I have nothing. That's just it. It's dead. I don't want to bring it back to life.
We gotta pour some.
You got a little piece of. You got a little sizzle in yours still.
Calm down. I'm sick of you. LaTracy says, thank God for my husband. He was good to me, and I know today it will never be like that again. All right. And then Miss Jones Jacqueline said 100. Hey, Swanee. She says,
no.
He hit it in the head. I've been there.
Yeah, he kept it.
And then Jones Jacqueline says,
like we realize, I think we God and can just change people. I should be so special that you just want to change for me. Like, no, like,
girl,
no matter, you can do everything on the sun, it's still probably not gonna work. You got to accept that.
So we have a question from Miss Jones Jacqueline. She wants to know, how do we heal when it comes to dealing with unfit fathers? How do we deal, or how do we heal when it comes to dealing with unfit fathers?
The same thing he said, the UAL method works for that as well. If you understand what makes him unfit, well, he doesn't spend time with his kids, not there to support, doesn't call and check on them. All of the things that you use to categorize him as unfit, who displays those types of characteristics? Men or immature boys or males. When you move all of those characteristics over to the immature boys or males, you simply now need to accept the fact that, well, my kid's father is immature. This is what immature men or immature males and immature boys do. So now I accept that those characteristics go over there and let it go. Because there's nothing you can press, there's nothing you can type, there's nothing you can call and say that to make him grow up
and come back. Yeah.
That's where the understand he's immature, accept that's what immaturity does, and let it go.
Yeah, accept it's not your fault, bro.
Not your fault. And I know it sounds like, and this is not to desensitize your situation, but we honestly make stuff a lot harder than what it really is. Because it's the thing, all of the things that you have placed upon him to consider him unfit, if you move all those characteristics on top of your children, those things wouldn't make sense, right? Because your kids doesn't have to adhere to those characteristics. You need to take those off of him and put them on top of a kid's mentality, because that's clearly what he has, because that's clearly what he's displaying. So once you move those man-father characteristics off of him and put them where they belong, it makes perfect sense. It's like saying, well, how do I accept the fact that cats can't fly? Well, do they have wings? Are their bodies made to fly? It is not. Well, okay, cats don't fly. The problem you're facing is you're assigning a title of father, man, and it's, well, I don't understand why he wouldn't be there. I don't understand. Of course you don't, because you have the wrong characteristics attached to the wrong title. Understand that, accept that, and let it go.
All right
Cats
then,
don't fly.
Adrian. Okay then, Adrian. You better use the UAL method.
UAL.
Cats don't fly, man. Cats don't fly.
She says no, it makes perfect sense.
Thank you. Cats don't fly, bro. That's my new slogan.
Cats don't. We need a shirt.
Cats don't fly. UAL on the back. Cats don't fly on the front.
Yes.
Merch coming soon.
Let's go. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout.
Merch coming soon.
Do you have any more comments?
Nope.
All right. So next question. How do people respond to being hurt? How do people respond to being hurt?
Anger.
Anger.
That was the first thing. She was like,
Ready. You just be ready to
Slash
cause some
tires
type
and
of
bust
physical. I
windows.
don't want to touch your car. I just want to touch you.
okay.
I can cause more damage to the physical body. You can get this stuff fixed.
Okay.
No.
You can't grow an arm back.
No. You can get an artificial one.
Right.
But you ain't going to get that one back because, no. So, yeah, I think anger is initially attacked.
Question inside of a question. Being that you now understand that in order to actually be hurt by something someone else says or done, you have to decide to be hurt. Being that you want to hurt that person for what they've done, do you also hurt yourself for deciding to let that hurt you?
Yeah.
Because you take a part in that as well.
I do.
So you going to cut your arm off when you cut theirs?
Just to make them hurt. Yep. Yes.
We gotta take
It's
our
you know
part
what?
too.
It's just like I'm gonna have to take this
I
L,
gotta
but
take-
you
yeah,
don't feel me.
I'm gonna chop mine. You finna get your one cut off too.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
we gotta we gotta accept the part that we play in deciding to let what they done hurt us.
Yeah, Miss Jones Jacqueline says revenge. And she also says, I want to make you hurt.
Yeah.
Period.
You gotta cut yours off.
I gotta let that go.
No.
Yo. I gotta let that go. UAL.
Yes,
We done gave you a method.
You gotta let it
asked
go.
what was attached. I told you.
So me personally, I think one of the more common ways that people respond to being hurt is by becoming guarded or building walls.
Like Fortnite. I stack them, son.
Building fortresses out here. Yo.
Yes.
But I think, and like you said earlier, people use that hurt as an excuse to play victim or as an excuse to deprive themselves of experiences that can yield outcomes of happiness or joy. But people don't realize that when you're building walls, usually you're becoming guarded or building walls to keep out the possibility of ever being hurt again. But what you're doing is you're
Putting yourself in a room.
yeah, you're putting yourself in a box. Not only are you blocking pain or suffering or anger, fear, whatever the case is, but you're also blocking
good
happiness
stuff,
as well. So, for example, let's say you're in your home and you're sick, right? And the only thing that can heal you is medicine, right? So, two men come to the door. Your door is locked, but two men come to the door. One man has a pill that's going to make you even more sick. Another man has a pill that's going to actually heal you and make you feel better, right? So they each tell you, hey, we're both out here. One of us has a pill that can hurt you. The other has a pill that can actually help you. Can you let us in so that you can possibly get the pill that can help you? In your mind, you're like, but what if I end up taking the pill that hurts me?
Like it ain't in your control.
You know what I mean? So what we do is we keep the door shut.
That's good.
And instead of opening up the opportunity of possibly healing, we just gonna either remain sick to avoid and die anyway, to avoid possibly taking the pill that's gonna make us even more sick. But again,
You have equal amount.
you're also blocking your antidote as well. So we can't be naive in the fact of thinking that I can become guarded, or I can build this fortress and still be able to be happy or find joy in things like that. But you're not, because every time the opportunity of joy or happiness comes to you, you see it as, oh, this is another opportunity for someone to hurt me. Let me block it, or let me deprive myself of this experience. You know what I mean? But it's like, how can you ever be happy that way? Yeah. Knowing that that's what you really want.
They both come through the same door.
They both come through the same door.
I think it's just all about control.
So you Lil Wayne, because you got metaphors, you got biochemistry, like,
Props.
you really should have been on the couch by yourself at this point. God dang, that's
I'm
good
coming
though.
through. I'm
That's
coming
good.
through to help these good people.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
All right, so Miss Sheila Bless Blanks. Hey, Miss Sheila. She says, I let it go and let them go. Miss LaTracy says, so true. Jones Jacqueline says, what do you say to people who say, I'm going to let God get revenge when that hurt was caused by themselves, but they are trying to play victim? And then she also said he got wisdom.
Yeah, he got it.
Thank you,
He
girl.
got it. He got the juice.
Calm down.
What was her
Just over
question?
there.
Yeah, not the juice.
You got so
The real
wrapped up
juice.
in the praise.
All right. What was her question?
She said, "So what do you say to people who say I'm gonna let God get revenge when that hurt was caused by themselves, but they are trying to play victim? What do you say to those people?
That say I'm gonna let God get revenge.
I'm gonna
when
let
the hurt was
God get
caused by
revenge when
themselves.
I'm the one who caused the hurt
Grow up.
because I'm trying to play
Yeah.
victim."
Grow up. Because, and I don't remember when I learned this, but since I learned it, like, it has never not been true. Double negative, never not. But whenever you're doing things or saying things like that to intentionally cause the negative outcome, it never works. The only way that the whole I'm gonna let God handle it is if you humbly, truly believe that, you know, you reap what you sow, or karma is going to naturally happen. God isn't the God of death or God of war for you to pray and be like, okay, Lord, he cheated on me, so let this happen.
Get
Like,
him.
that's not how that works. If it happens, it's going to happen naturally. You making statements like that with an ill intent and not coming from a place of humbleness and purity, that simply shows your immaturity and misunderstanding. And what do I say to people like that? You're going to have to grow up. Grow up in your understanding to know that, first of all, that's not how God works. Second of all, life doesn't work like that. Third of all, you don't have enough power or energy to promote some type of negative connotation towards someone. That person's actions is going to automatically do that for them. But when you're projecting that out on them, 9 times out of 10, you will never get a chance to see it, because you're not doing it from a place of humbleness. You're doing it from a place of, I literally want to watch you suffer. It don't work like that. Yeah, I never seen it work like that, and it doesn't. I've even employed people who came to me to rechange their mind, and it was simple situations where she approached me with that concept. Well, he should say. I said, well, hold on. If you really want that to work, this is how you have to think. Prior to talking to me, it hadn't worked so far, but she was just telling me why she was doing it. But once I gave her the way to align that thinking, the next 2 or 3 weeks, she was like, can you believe, such happened to him? The reason that it happened is because you let it go and you literally let God, or let it naturally happen. And it wasn't an evil intent. It was legitimately going to happen anyway because of what he did to you. So you really block sometimes someone else's punishment for something because of your evil intent behind it. So long story short, grow up. Stop. Don't do that, because that's not how God works.
She said a lot of people need to hear that.
Yeah, they got to stop that. It don't work like that.
Miss Rhonda Jones. Hey, Miss Rhonda.
Hey, Miss Rhonda.
She says, I determine if that person should be in my life or not. If so, I will work through it. If not, I will let them go. In life, you are going to get hurt. You can exit in a mature way.
I love that. I work through it.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
I was
it
gonna say, which
slides
brings
into the next one.
Which brings up another point that I have, which is learn to develop the spirit of discernment, which is defined as the ability to obtain sharp perceptions or to judge well. So, I guess from a biblical aspect, would you like to speak on discernment? The spirit of discernment?
Definitely. So, and this is a concept, and I'm trying to hit this real quick and get out of it because it can go really long. I despise hearing people say, "Don't judge," or "You're being judgmental." That's not a bad thing. Like, we have to judge every single day, because the definition of judgment is your ability to properly gather information and make a well-informed decision about what you just gathered. You can't just let anybody come in and out of your life. You have to be guarded. Everything needs to be judged. What people are trying to say is you shouldn't condemn. When you condemning people, you're sentencing them to a final resting place. But people don't know how to separate the difference between judging something and condemning. So now they group the two as one, and it's not the same. So you definitely need the spirit of discernment. And what I find funny is a lot of people who are spiritual, they talk about, I got a spirit of discernment, I got a spirit of discernment. But then when you mention the word judgment, they're like, I don't judge people. But you just said you got a spirit of discernment. Discernment, assuming, accurate reading people. body language, psychologists. All of that is the same. Like, it's exactly the same. It's just you took this one word, judgment, and you're making it something negative when it's really not. Like, look up the definition of what judging is, or being judgmental. There's nothing wrong with being judgmental if it's coming from a place of purity and humbleness. The only problem with judging is if your judgment ends in condemnation. Nobody has the ability to condemn because we can't put people in a resting spiritual place. Biblically, God tells us to judge everything, but it has to be done from the right perspective.
Right, and kind of going back to the two guys outside your door.
You have to make a judgment on that.
If you open yourself up to pain or pleasure, you can find a way to judge which pill will harm you and which pill will actually help you.
But because I think I don't supposed to be judging, that's why I'm scared that if I open the door, I don't know which one I'm gonna take. Nigga, pick one. Shoot!
Look at him.
Look at the guys. I'm pretty sure the one with the bad pill gonna look bad. The one with the good pill gonna look pill. Right. Well, I don't want to judge you, so I'm gonna just take both of them. Now you're dead. And that's why we in the world we in now. Judge everything. I know I do. People be like, I don't want you to judge me. I tell them, and I am. Why would you call me? You know I'm finna judge you. But the reason you call me, because you know that the judgment that I'm gonna make is gonna come from a place of, I'm listening to what you're saying, I'm processing your information, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. But when people use words like, oh, they keep it real, that's basically what you're saying. They judge me respectfully. They judge me accordingly. Like, we have to, that's a whole other video. Go. I despise when people be like, don't judge me.
Lil Tracy says hallelujah, and Miss Rhonda says exactly.
Oh, hey, Ron. When did she?
We've been saying hey.
Did she?
You on this level, son? I'm just trying to keep up.
We done been saying hey to Miss Rhonda.
I'm trying to keep up with Professor X over here.
I miss you, Rhonda. How you doing?
Man.
He been on it this video.
Yes, man. I'm trying to keep up with Professor X.
Girl, I need to get my notebook and my little paper.
Wait on me.
All right. And then the last question is, should parents stop trying so hard to protect their kids? Should parents stop trying so hard to protect their kids?
Why did you put this question on there?
No.
And
this question is
wrap this into.
Let me tie this in, and I'm gonna let you finish it because I can't tell too much about it. So I gotta be really general, but I need you to pick this ball up and
That's it.
Get
ready to catch it, Aaron.
Okay. So it was recently brought to my attention that a parent is projecting their hurt from another parent on their child. The answer to that question is yes. Parents have to stop being so protective in the field of trying to have their child avoid the hurt that they went through and start teaching them the UAL.
How to process it.
So go.
Not the
So what's happening is trying to protect kids from the perceived possibility of pain puts them in the exact same predicament as you with not learning how to process their hurt. So because a lot of parents, as they're navigating life, because they've never learned themselves how to properly process pain.
It's 4.
Already.
And Swanee says, come on.
I gotta go.
We'll continue. It's 4 already?
Yes. All right.
Like 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Can we 5
So
minutes?
we're going to real quick. So because a lot of parents haven't gone through life learning how to properly process their own pain, they're fearful of not being able to teach that to their kids. So versus trying to teach them how to process their process pain that they will inevitably come across in their life, they're just going to say, hey, I want to protect you from what I've been through because I haven't learned how to process it myself. I can't teach you how to process it, so in order to avoid it altogether, I'm just going to keep you from experiencing it. But we can't. Life, the part of the experience of life is experiencing pain along with experiencing joy. You can't have one without the other. So, of course, we're about to cut this short, but just and we can probably revisit it in another video. But bottom line is, start learning how to process your own pain so that we can start teaching our kids to process their pain versus trying to protect them from it. Because As long as you keep trying to protect them from it, once they grow up, they're going to be just as hurt and damaged and traumatized as you, and they're going to be repeating a lot of the same mistakes that you're probably repeating as well as an adult.
They're basically building the same walls around their kids that they built around themselves, which keeps them from picking which pill that they want to take.
Makes sense. Thank you for this today, Aaron. I like the topic. I'm a UAL.
UAL.
I'm a UAL.
But unfortunately, we have to cut it short. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Catch us again, same time, same place next week. Adrian will be posting what our next topic will be throughout the week, so be on the lookout for that. If you want to catch other videos, just visit my YouTube page. Type in Aaron Tate, AARONTATE. You should see my face. Click on it. You'll have access to all the videos we've done so far. But right now, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to our future selves. Put the 2 fingers in, Jasmine, please. Thank you. One day we'll look back on this and wonder why we were like this in the first place. We'll holler at you.
Bye.
Boy, you must have